Hey, Viking fans. The hit heard round the world in Vikings Titans joint practice. Let's talk about it next. In three, two, one. Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Skull World, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm your host, Dave. You can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook at Skull World. Make sure you smash the like button, leave a comment, tell me what you think of what I'm about to talk about. I want to hear you. I will respond. Let's go. Let's go. Be a part of the Minnesota Sports Talk community. I appreciate it. Let's go. There was apparently Derrick Henry got hit, knocked to the ground by Ivan Pace Jr., soon to be Mr. Mankato. If you don't know what Mr. Mankato is, it's, there's a whole system there. That's where the Vikings used to do training camp. So who was the unsung hero, came out of nowhere type player, and he had to be under the third round. Couldn't have really had any contribution the year before. You're not a veteran. This guy, Ivan Pace Jr., undrafted free agent, making waves. Kevin O'Connell saying he's not playing to. He's not trying to make the team. He's trying to play right away, and that's what we wanted to hear. What a find! What a find! Thank you, Kwesi Dalfamensa, for doing your homework and putting up the cash. And apparently you're a good negotiator because you got him over the Titans. The Titans wanted him. Here we are practicing against the Titans, and what does he do? He pops Derrick Henry. Now, in truth, who knows? I don't have video of it, but I have reports of it, and it was all over Twitter. Derrick Henry got hit and knocked to the ground by Ivan Pace Jr. You're not supposed to tackle him in these practices, so he must have popped him, knocked him off his feet. Wow. I mean, Derrick Henry's bigger than Ivan Pace Jr. How is it possible? Leverage. Let's go. That's what it is. Ivan Pace Jr. with the leverage. I don't know. He looks like a small dude, but he's packing a punch. 230 some pounds, 5'10". Holy crap. That hits you, you're gonna feel it. Let's go. Derrick Henry. He knows what the pace is. He knows what the pace is. All right, let's talk about recap. Royal Raggets, as usual, my go-to guy at camp. He has his recap. Let's go over it. I'm gonna fill in the blanks from what I saw from other reports, but let's pull it up. Let's just pull it up. Here we go. All right. I'm going to make it big. Who cares about aesthetics? Vikings Titans joint practice recap day one. Defenses come out ahead. The Vikings and Titans both played well defensively on a windy afternoon in Egan. This is a report. It was all defense all day long. Not much to say about Vikings, but you know what I said going in? I wanted to hear good things about our defense coming out of these practices. And I did. I'm not worried about the offense yet until I see them. I see that offensive line in that first game of the season. Then I might be a little bit worried. But right now, defense was important to me. If we can have a good defense, I think our offense will score points no matter what. And it's looking good so far. Let's go. Let's go. The Tennessee Titans arrived at TCO Performance Center on Wednesday for the first of 2 days of joint practice with the Vikings, which will lead into a preseason game between the two teams on Saturday night. On a very windy afternoon in Egan, the Vikings finally got to test themselves against a different opponent in practice setting. Their overall story of the day was the both defenses had more success than their offensive counterparts. This was a tough physical practice with defensive pressure and heavy wind disrupting each team's ability to move the ball effectively. Jordan Addison didn't practice for the Vikings. He has a concussion protocol. This concerns me. It's like there was the Liz Frank injury, and then there was the core injury that people always talked about, abductor strain. That was the big thing. And now it's been concussions the past 2 years. Don't play him. Don't play him the rest of the preseason. Let's get him healthy. Let's worry about him. No need to get him on the preseason anymore. We saw what we liked. We saw him and we saw what we liked Let's go. Keep it. Don't practice him. TJ Hawkinson. I mean, joint practice. Don't joint practice him. Don't put him in a game. That's what I'm talking about. He can practice. Also absent was Jalen Naylor, Kenny Nwangu, Brian Asamoah, Jaqueline Roy, and Garrett Mogg. Jonathan Buller and Lucky Jackson returned to action. Okay, out of this, Kenny Nwangu was in. I haven't seen him. You haven't seen him. Jalen Naylor, first day of practice, looked great. Haven't seen him since. What that means to me is Jalen Rager is our fourth receiver, which he is looking good in preseason. I'm not told he's that great in practice, but Jalen Naylor looking good uh, in the last game. He was open. There was one he took a really big hit. He looked good. There's no doubt about it. Everybody gave him. I put out a poll. 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. What did you think of Jalen Rager? And 80% of the votes were 3 or 4 stars. So people are liking it. Maybe it took him just learning the playbook, getting more accustomed to it, getting more practice behind it. He didn't get a whole lot of reps in the regular season last year, so maybe this is his opportunity. That's awesome. Let's get some takeaways. Defenses win the day. For the most part, it looked like both teams' defensive players and coaches will feel better about their performances than the offenses will this practice. Quarterbacks were under pressure. Running lanes were hard to come by, and weren't a whole lot of big plays to be found downfield, with a few exceptions. So, yeah, it looked like the videos I saw, it was pockets collapsing, and they'll probably talk about here about 2 picks and the second play of 2 drives that Cousins threw. One was a block. One guy got a hand up, knocked the ball in the air at the line, and popped up into this guy's arms. Honestly, it looked like Cousins was trying to throw it away. So I wasn't too concerned there. That's kind of one of those freak plays. He was probably already sacked, honestly. It wasn't that good. He was letting the play continue when that happened. I think he was going to get sacked. During 11-on-11 action, Vikings offense had some issues with pass protection and running the football against the Titans. Stout defensive line. This is the Tennessee team that finished number 1 in run defense last season, but had major questions in the secondary, led by star defensive tackle Jerry Simmons. There was quite a bit of trash talk coming from the Titans front. Okay, they're talking about Titans have bad pass defense, down in the secondary. It looked like it in one-on-one drills. Our receivers were making them look silly in a lot of the clips I was looking at. A lot of them. Thayer Thomas was eating these guys up, and which looks good for Thayer Thomas. Good job, man. We might have found a guy there. Honestly, he looks tall. He's fast. Looks like he catches with his hands, and I saw some good route running. He's who is this Thayer Thomas guy? Impressive. All right, let's continue on the other field. Vikings defense is making things just as hard as on Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and Titans first team offense. Brian Flores did what he's done in his own offense all training camp, bring the heat. The Vikings' variety of hard to predict blitz looks resulted in at least one defender getting in the backfield on a majority of Titan dropbacks. So it's not just our offense. They weren't ready for it either. I am excited, man. Every time I read this, I'm excited. I'm not even thinking about our offense. I'm thinking about, this is what our defense is going to look like. To wrap up practice, there were 4 situational move the ball drives. The Vikings first team offense faced the Titans first team defense. The Titans first team O faced the Vikings first team D. And the process was repeated with second stringers. Each time the clock read 24-21 with 1:15 to play. None of the 4 drives ended in points, though it was worth noting that the offenses were going into the wind. The period went worse for the Vikings, who ran a combined 4 offensive plays. Kirk Cousins was intercepted by Roger McCreary on the second play of the first drive, with conditions perhaps affecting his throw. Felt like the ball kind of just died as it hit the wind, Kevin O'Connell said after practice. Still, O'Connell acknowledged that Cousins has to anticipate that, put more air under the ball, and the Vikings' second team offense also ran just 2 plays as Nick Mullins threw a pass that was tipped at the line of scrimmage and picked up by Rashad Weaver. Okay, that wasn't even Cousins. I couldn't see his number. So Cousins had one pick where he underthrew a ball apparently, and it was Mullins who through the pass that got batted down. Got it. Tannehill was able to move the ball a bit against the Vikings' first team defense, in part due to the offensive penalty, but pressure was in his face multiple times, and Harrison Smith batted a pass down at the line. The Titans tried a long field goal into the wind, and kicker Caleb Shudak predictably left it way short. Kicking into the wind was basically impossible all day. Malik Willis also moved the ball a bit with the Titans twos, but Luigi Villain sack and a drive outside of field goal range. Luigi Villain, man, he's one of my top 5. Well, I had him honorable mention because honestly, I want to put him in my top 5. But we did a video the other day. I didn't want to have the complete same list as JJ. So, but Luigi Villain, he was on his list, and I agree with him that he's going to be a big time contributor, more so than he was last year, and I'm looking forward to it. Some of the most entertaining action of the day came from during special teams portions of the practice. There's a one-on-one gunner drill where one player from the team would line up against each other, and the gunner would try to get around the blocker to reach a tackling dummy placed 30 yards or so downfield. That drill brought out tons of intensity as players, many of them likely roster bubble guys, fought to win the rep. It was fun to see the strategies different players would use to try to get around their opponent. Christian Jackson, Theo Jackson, and Josh Metellus were a few standouts for the Vikings. There was a player, I wasn't sure which one it was, but I want to say it was Theo Jackson, I think. Yeah, just ended up shoving his guy to the ground and getting to the dummy, man. It was, and his guy was on his butt. So some of our guys showed out, like unexpected people really showed out in that practice, and it's showing up in the report. Then came punt coverage drills, which meant watching Ryan Wright put on a show. The Vikings' second-year punter got in a kick into the wind and was legitimately sailing balls 80-plus yards on the fly for touchbacks. It was ridiculous to witness. You know you had a good day as a punter when the crowd and the bleachers are chanting your name, O'Connell said. I was proud of Ryan today. But, hey, you don't want to outkick your coverage either, but he was kicking with the wind on those. That was impressive. It's good to see. His preseason and wasn't the greatest, honestly. It wasn't the greatest punting. So hopefully this next game, it will. Other notes, Ivan Pace Jr. continues to impress. He took basically all of the first team reps with Asamoah still sideline and made some plays in both the 7s and the 11s. Pace even knocked Henry, who has a slight size advantage on him, to the ground on the rep. Gold stars all the way around for Ivan. O'Connell said of the performance thus far, it's clear that Pace is no longer competing to make the team. He's competing for the starting job at inside linebacker, and week 1 rolls around. Awesome to hear. Danielle Hunter was full participant in practice, made his presence felt on the number of plays. Not only are physical tools constantly on display, he's excellent in reading things like play action passes, then quick getting to the quarterback. Awesome. Danielle Hunter, let's go. Let's go. The Vikings' most common defensive look featured Josh Metellus line up in the slot as a big nickel. Nice. It seems like that's a personal group that Brian Flores is going to use often this season. Great to hear. Metellus is the big nickel. It's fitting. It's fitting. He is an aggressive, strong safety, in my opinion. With the second team defense, we also saw plenty of reps where Lewis Seen filled the Metellus role and lined up in the box instead of playing a traditional safety alignment. Are the Vikings switching things up for Seen to try to get more out of him? Probably. That's good. I want to see him in multiple positions. Metellus has got the edge on him. It's true. The Titans did rip up a couple big pass plays in an 11-on-11 action. There was a Malik Willis deep ball against a coverage bust from the Vikings. Second team defense. Andrew Jr. may or may not have been at the fault. I genuinely don't know. Not good to hear. There was also a Ryan Tannehill bomb on Treylon Burks pass to Caleb Evans, after which Burks came up hobbling and left practice. I thought Vikings rookie cornerback Mekhi Blackman had another nice day. I saw video on this. He looked like he was just shadowing receivers. It looks like he'll be in the starting lineup ahead of Joanne Williams unless something changes. Jalen Reagor and Brandon Powell worked in the Vikings first team offense with Addison out. Christian Jackson stood up for Vikings in 11s, making a couple nice catches. Brandon Powell, Thayer Thomas, and N'Keal Harry all look good on one-on-one drills against Titan DBs. This is, again, what I saw on Twitter coming out on, Will Raggett's report here. All that was true. It looked like our receivers were eating up their D-backs. There was some trash talk and a couple of near skirmishes, but no actual fights broke out, which sometimes can be an issue at joint practices. O'Connell and Mike Vrabel made it clear to their teams that anyone who threw a punch would be kicked out of practice for a day. That's all for Wednesday. The Vikings and Titans will be back at it on Thursday. All right. That's good, man. Another practice with the Titans. I'll take it. That all good. All good. Windy conditions, offenses look bad on both sides. It was good to see, our receivers in the one-on-one drills were beating their defensive backs. That gives me some hope there. Our defensive backs in the one-on-one drills were doing okay. Mekhi Blackman, great. Ivan Pace Jr. standing out. I'm excited. The biggest change this year was getting Brian Flores. That's it. I'm done. Mr. Mankato, Ivan Pace Jr., no doubter. The other two guys would probably be Ty Chandler and Mekhi Blackman. But that's it, guys. Minnesota Vikings going day 2 against the Titans today. We'll have a report. We'll read another report for you tomorrow. Let's go. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, cue the music.